Okay, I'd like to call tonight's Lower Macungie Township Board of Commissioners workshop to order. If we could all please stand for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just for the record, we do have one agenda modification this evening. Item number 4, the review draft amendment to Chapter 7 of the Fire Prevention and Fire Protection Ordinance will be moved to a future agenda. Starting off with item number 2, review of amendment to pollution reduction plan. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. President. Renee has a PowerPoint presentation that Mary Stover in our office put together. Frankly, it summarizes things pretty darn well. I kind of want her, I have her attending tonight specifically in case the board has any technical questions. But I thought that the slides laid out pretty well why we need to make a change. And that is that in following the PRP that had been previously approved by DEP, one of the projects towards the end of the list is no longer feasible because it's in the floodplain. We had to change gears, and Mary was able to come up with a couple of other projects that will more than address the sediment removal requirements. And that's what will be sent. It's already been advertised. And once correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, but once the advertising period is complete, depending on whether or not the township gets any comments to address, it will be sent to DEP for approval, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so game plan basically is once DEP gets it and approves it, we will move forward with design of the 2 new projects. And as we have done before, put together bid specs and have them go out to construction, bid and subsequently go out to construction. I believe that all of the previous MS4 projects that are part of the township's requirements have been completed. So we're actually, I feel like we're moving along pretty well. But that was the main point of tonight's discussion, is to basically present this to the board. The longer version of it is in the agenda packet. And like I said, this slideshow is actually quite a nice summary of why we're doing what we're doing. Any questions?
Just one for you, Brian. So part of Quarry Park now is in a floodplain?
Well, Quarry Park towards the rear of the property is definitely in the floodplain. I'd have to defer to Mary as to the exact location of the previously proposed project, but the rear of the property is definitely in the floodplain, similar to the township's compost facility site. Right. So my guess is that when the previous plan was put together, it was like, ooh, let's just jam this down as far as we can, so as we don't take up too much park property, which is certainly well intended, but as the board's well aware, we've made some adjustments to the zoning ordinance to minimize, if not completely eliminate, impact in the floodplains. So consequently, we wanted to shift gears and come in with these other projects. And frankly, in looking at the projects that Mary chose, and I believe these are all put together in close coordination with Zach Graves, and I think to some degree Nate. I don't want to leave anybody out nor misrepresent anything, but I think relative to projects I've seen in other townships as well as here in Lower Macungie, the Hills at Lockridge Basin conversions in particular are actually ideal, because one of the benefits of naturalizing basins is it dramatically cuts down on how much mowing the township public works guys have to do. And if you contract it out, that's obviously less work that has to be included on that particular contract if it gets bid. So that one, and then the Brookside Swale, certainly looking at the photos Mary provided, it's a swale, it functions, but in regard to this program and benefits of having things done a little bit more from an engineering environmental standpoint, this really provides quite a bit of benefit, even though it's just fixing up a swale. So that's what's on your plate. And I don't know, I kind of was
You
counting
want
on
to
Bruce.
just run through the
Yeah.
slides real quick, Brian?
Yeah,
Because I mean, there's only a few. So,
yeah, no, sorry. I was,
so this one just shows the existing projects as they are in the approved pollution reduction plan, and the one that we're looking to eliminate is the Quarry Park Rain Garden. There were other projects were completed other than the Spring Creek Road repairing swale. That's to be bid out this spring. Just so that you know that. If you go to the next slide, that talks about the two projects that we're talking about adding instead of the Quarry Park basin. That basin was supposed to be behind what I think is the compost area. It wasn't in the park itself.
Okay.
So these two additional BMPs would give us over and above what we need for the total reduction requirement. If you go to the next slide. This shows where the Brookside Road swale is located and what a picture of it today is, where it's eroding through. We would flatten it out, grade it out, and vegetate it. And then the next slide shows the Lockridge basins, where they're located. They're all like mowed grass. We'd have to look at their outlet structures to see if any modifications were needed, but then we'd naturalize the bottom of the basins. And then finally, the amendment has been advertised for public comment. Comments can be submitted to the township in writing through March 8th. And at the conclusion of the public comment period, we will send it officially to DEP for approval, although we did pass it through them prior to coming or going out to public comment just to see that they were on board. So we expect them to approve it. And then once approved, the design and construction of it can move forward. Now, the township's current permit requires that all BMPs be completed by April 30th, 2025. So trying to get this moving along. Happy to answer any questions.
Mary, does the amendment have to come back to the Board of Commissioners for approval?
Technically, no, but we would like to see that the board is officially on board with it. So I don't know whether that's something that we could put on a future meeting just to have that confirmation.
We can do that.
Okay, any questions for Mary or Brian in regards to these two new added projects? Okay, no questions. Thank you very much for the update on this.
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks, Mary.
Okay, item 3, review of Spring Ridge Crossing Playground. This is Denise and Stan, I'm assuming, and Eileen. Come on up. Sit in the hot seat.
Okay, so Kylene gave packets to all of you, and just to give you a brief overview of what we did, we met with 3 different companies to see what their designs were for Spring Ridge Crossing Park. We quickly eliminated one of the 3, narrowed it down to 2, and we went on a couple field trips to different parks in different areas. We were down to Quakertown. We went to 2 in South Whitehall Township and Allentown as well to see the quality of the equipment. And we decided that the Compin company had the best quality playground equipment and also a nice variety of things that were a little different and not just the standard that you see at every playground. So all the designs included the port-in-place rubber surfacing, and you can see in the packet there all the things that are included. One of the things that is also on this is a universal carousel, which can be accessed by children of all ages and can accommodate a wheelchair. We were trying to have some things in there that would be ADA accessible. And the mini dome, which is featured there on the far right for ages 2 to 5, is brand new for 2024. We'll be one of the first to have this. And that company will be using us kind of as a benchmark for others who are researching features for their playgrounds. You can see some of the other things in the packet there. And, you know, if you have any questions for any of us, we'd be happy to explain what each of the items is and what, you know, what activities are there for the kids.
So it'll be all the items we see here? That
Correct.
looks great.
Definitely very futuristic. What do they do with wheelchairs on the carousel? Is there straps to like strap in and,
They can completely wheel onto the carousel in their wheelchair.
I mean, but how do they stay in place if it spins around? Like,
It's regulated. There's speed controls on the bottom, so it meets the ADA compliance, of the wheelchair.
They back in, so this full force will keep them.
okay, don't talk science with me, Stan.
Is there a warranty on this? But
If you go to page 18, all of the warranty information for Compton is listed. Most of it falls under the lifetime warranty. Some of it comes with a 10-year warranty and a 15-year warranty as well, depending on the part.
I believe the pour in place has a 10-year warranty on the pour in place.
That's correct.
I know that staff as well as Bruce sat in with several meetings, not just with this company, with another company as well. They went through a lot of iterations of different things and they tried to pick something out that everybody would want and to enjoy for all ages. And I think it's a great design.
And both these companies we talked to, or the three companies, you know, even though we got rid of one, we're all part of CoStars.
Correct.
Yeah.
Commissioners, any other questions?
if that poured in place, is that like a soft material? Or-
Yeah, it's basically, it's like a foam rubber surfacing on there. It meets the fall height even for, it's like a 2-story, like a 15-foot fall. It meets the fall requirements. It's really unique. It's come a long way. Before there used to be like big, foam blocks with rubber coatings, and now it's a couple inches of like impact attenuating like foam rubber on there, and it's really neat. And a lot of them, this one here has some different areas, like the kick-out areas are a different color. That way, if they want to get replaced, it's easier to replace just the area instead of trying to match it. And then the foam does, rubber surfacing does save a lot of time with remulching every year in the weeds. It just makes it look like a much nicer, cleaner playground for many years.
And staff took a trip down to Quakertown. The Quakertown Park has one of these pour in place with new structures, and that's kind of a lot of the imagination part of this as well.
Are there any others other than Quakertown? Similar?
Close by here, who else would have something similar?
Wow, that's a big- No,
Allen.
it's not Compton, it's as the pour-in-place rubber at the one in Cedar Beach.
Want the ADA accessible one, yeah.
Yeah, Cedar Beach has a pour-in-place, it's not Compton, but it's pour-in-place.
And this company's out of Quakertown, correct?
No.
Oh, I thought they were, I'm sorry. Julie, any questions? Sure.
Yeah, you pressure wash it, it'd be just like any other, like paved surface. It's almost like, it feels like pavement, it looks like pavement, but it's soft and rubbery. It feels weird as you walk on it. It feels really neat. But they say you can pressure wash and clean it like any normal surface. There's no special. We have a trailer that has the tanks and all the pressure washing stuff on it. So we have a full equipped trailer.
All right. That's it. Very good. Thank you very much.
you.
Okay, item number 5, review draft resolution for sale of public property.
So the resolution includes several items that the township no longer needs, and we're looking to post the items for sale on Municipid, which is an online auction. The items include stuff that is from the general township administration offices, but as well as Public Works. It includes a lot of items, but we are not looking to post everything at one time on Municipid. That would kind of be a little hard to manage. So little by little, we're looking to post all of these items on Municipid.
And this is, we do this every year. It's not.
We
this is-
try to,
yeah, we're
yeah.
not, creating really new policy here. How often do we actually get what we're asking? Like, is it,
Actually, pretty often, because we ask below value, because we don't want to, you don't want to put the starting bid too high, because then a lot of people don't bid where you start lower and you get the price up higher.
Right.
For pickup trucks, we've been getting, well, with the past few years, the shortage on trucks, we've been getting a good amount of money for our trucks. The mowers we have on here listed like 2,500, 3,000, but I've looked online for similar models and you're looking to get maybe 6 or 7. But we don't, but you don't want to bank on that, because,
Sure.
it's just, it's a bid and anything's, goes, but we actually do pretty good on Municipid. We go well on Municipid for valuable items, like for the mowers, for the trucks, string trimmers, all the lots of string trimmers, if people want to buy them and fix them up and do stuff, that's so, but a lot of the other stuff like electronics, the electronics move so quickly, we have to advertise it, and a lot of times it's just dispose of them through other means, just because we don't get bids on them.
And surprisingly, we posted items that are not even working order, and people bid them up, and they'll buy them for the metal or whatever it is, or for parts for their machinery, but yeah. That's what we're even posting the old 80-inch TVs that used to be here, because people they'll buy them.
excellent. Sounds good to me.
One question.
Yes.
I
Mr.
know,
Brother.
I know last year at the auction, we changed, the way it's wrote up now, it sells to the highest bidder regardless of the price. That's what's checked off at the end. All above surplus is subject to the following conditions. Sell to the highest responsible bidder. We did put a reserve on stuff last year, like the trucks.
Yes.
The higher priced
yes.
items, not the $5 weed whacker. But the way this is wrote up, the truck wouldn't get bid up near, it's valued at 15,000, somebody could get it for 1,000. According to this, what I'm reading.
So we do put a reserve on all of our items
Well,
that we
that's
post
not
on
what
there.
it's
Even though that we don't post it in the resolution, the minimum bid, the reserve price is kind of a hidden price.
That is an option. Check. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
That would be the second one. Sell to the highest responsible bidder or
And
the minimum price.
you know what? You're exactly right. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think we talked about changing this resolution to basically say that we're selling to the highest responsible bidder and not list the price, only because our reserve prices are hidden, and take those options away from the resolution.
Right, and that gives us the option to
Yeah.
use.
Correct.
I'm guessing, looking at this, because they're all different prices, if you put in, a minimum price, it would have to be different for every single one of them.
True.
But when you enter into
True.
Municipid, each one is individualized so that
Yeah.
there can be a minimum,
Starting.
like a minimum price. We're
Right.
not taking less than this.
What I can do is I can talk with the solicitor and get the wording down that we're basically going to be selling to the highest responsible bidder that would be over our reserve price.
Okay.
We could do that.
Yeah, just so it may be one way on the site and one way different in the actual resolution, but we want to make sure that we're as clear as possible. So that,
Right. Yeah, we can do that before we bring it back to the board.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Julie.
So we didn't put it in the newsletter. The newsletter just went out. We didn't put it in the newsletter, but it is something that we could post
Online.
on our website, on social media, and get people out there to know. We could do that. Right, so when we post it in the newspaper, that it will be like the sale dates on Municipid, that's also posted on our website, but we could put like a separate thing under news and announcements.
Very good. Okay, item 6, review draft resolution for destruction of municipal records.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Dan.
So this is something that we try to do every year. Our shredding event is coming up on April 13th, and the township follows the state's municipal records manual for record retention. And these are all the records that are old and can be discarded at our shredding event.
So it looks like here there's nothing any more recent than 7 years old, roughly.
Right, yeah. And we have it in our record retention policy that the Board of Commissioners approve these by resolution, so there's always some kind of tracking as to what's being discarded.
Okay, questions? Very good. Moving on, item 7, review of upcoming renewals with Civic Plus for Civic Engage website and Civic Ready notifications.
So Civic Plus has notified us that of upcoming contract changes that are needed due to same thing that we always hear, inflation and soaring costs. So our current agreements are going to be expiring in March. So they are proposed, this is for 2 of our platforms. Civic Ready is for the notifications that we send out, and Civic Engage is for our website. The agreements that are in your agenda packet, Civic Ready is an increase of roughly $1,044 annually, and Civic Engage is an increase of roughly $1,600 annually.
Curious,
Mm-hmm.
how have we been in terms of people signing up for these notifications? I mean, I get, when something goes on, I get a phone call, an email, carrier pigeon, like a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes.
What is the, I guess, the acceptance rate among the residents?
For the total amount of population that we have, or households that we have, I don't think it's as much as what we expected. I feel if we would do an emergency notification to all residences, we might be close to 3,000 people.
We've talked about, I mean, with the refuse issue and prices going up, we've talked about putting in like a mailer in with the bills that go out. Could we do something similar, kind of alerting people to this system?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's on the website and it's in the newsletter, but not everybody looks at the website or reads the newsletter.
Yep.
I'm wondering if we brought it to their attention a little more deliberately, if we get a higher level of participation.
Yeah.
Because I still get, like, every time there's a holiday or a snow day, I get tons of texts and phone calls about, is my garbage being picked up on time or a day late?
Right.
Now, I know what it is because I get the notification from, from Lorraine, basically. But more people, if they sign up for it, it just gives them more.
We could certainly do that. And we do put it in our newsletter every once in a while, but social media is really the way to go to
Or
get
that, yeah.
people to sign up for things or to know what services we offer. So I could do that as well.
I mean, if you put it in the mailer, it's kind of like a push notification, like they have to get it regardless. They don't go on
Okay.
social media or they don't.
So, yeah,
Even for community day, maybe have.
Like a
and
table.
I actually do every year. And that's one of the first things that I ask when people walk by, are you signed up for a notification?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Julie.
That is true. Yep. Yeah, you can sign up for what topic you want to be notified for. Mhm.
Okay, any further questions on the Civic Plus renewal? Okay, item 8, update on the Hillside School Pathway. Mr. Jones, is this you or? No.
Mr. McAdam.
That'll be
Oh,
me.
it's Mr. McAdam.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a project that was discussed numerous times with the board over the course of the last, I want to say, like 2 years. The township received a grant for this trail pedestrian path work. The plans are complete. We are going, the advertising is going to be February 28th and March 6th. And let me make sure I get my dates correct here. The bid opening for the trail is going to be March 18th with the intention of discussing the bids at the March workshop and assuming everything comes in okay, recommending an award at the April 4th board meeting. Pretty simple. Renee has a plan, one of the plans from the plan set that we had put together. Extremely straightforward, just one trail going across the front of their property. Like I had said, I guess I feel like it's been discussed a lot. Bruce and Brian Cisak from my office had a meeting last Thursday to discuss some last minute things that the school was looking for, which we were able to accommodate pretty easily. And so we look forward to moving this along and getting it installed.
Okay. You may have just said this and I missed it. Are we trying to get this work done once school is over?
Yes. Yes. I believe that was part of the, I mean, like any project involving a school, we always try to do our best to get things done when school's not in session. And that is, I believe that is the intention. For a lot of good reasons, but I believe we are holding to that. And I apologize, Bruce. Like I said, Bruce kind of was driving the bus on this one with Brian Cisak, and I didn't expect Bruce and I both to be sick on the same night. So,
okay, thank you, Brian. And Nate, just so I'm clear, this would connect the two pathways, right? The Brookside and Wild Cherry?
Yeah, it puts everything together.
Closes the loop?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions in regards to the Hillside School Pathway project? Okay. Item 9, review request from the EAC to renew commitment of being a bird town community.
So this one is me. Attended the last EAC meeting the other month, and we did have a representation. We did have a representative, sorry, from the Bird Town organization come up from Bucks County. We are already designated as a Bird Town community, so this would be to renew it. Essentially, the EAC is recommending it. They'd like to continue on. A lot of the items in the resolution and what they're advocating for, things we already do, naturalized plantings as part of your stormwater management, making sure that forestation is required as part of the land development process, which we also have on the books. So it seems like a benign act and one that would be more ministerial, that would have us continue on with the designation. The only thing that I would recommend to the board is I looked at the language on the basic one, and we'll have David look at the other one. We obviously wouldn't want to agree to anything in advance where if Bird Town's recommending or says in order to be a Bird Town community, you have to outlaw XYZ or regulate XYZ. We would want to look at that on a case-by-case basis. But as written and as suggested, we're just trying to continue to do what we always do. The EAC is in favor of it. We already have the designation, so it's really just kind of continuing on.
Any questions in regard to the Bird Town recommendation? And just reading through this, this doesn't cost us anything. It doesn't obligate us to spend money on anything. It's just there are things they offer, but we don't necessarily, we're not required to participate.
Right. So we're not required to spend anything, and we're not required to, like I noted before, sign on to agree to regulate anything as part of this. This is just keeping us involved with the organization. I'm sure, advocacy will come up on certain items as time goes on, but we'll look at that on a case by case basis.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Jones? Okay, item 10, review request from the East Penn School District for field use at Spring Creek Estates for lacrosse. Renee.
So this is a request similar to the annual request that we would get from them for the use of Church Lane baseball fields. Here they're requesting the use of Spring Creek Estates fields for their middle school club lacrosse team. And this would be beginning in March and go to the end of May. And it would be Monday through Friday, 2:30 to 7, and Saturday, 9 to 5. Staff did have some concerns that this would conflict with LMYA use of the field. And between the three entities, there was discussion that LMYA will not have any conflicts, that this would be fine for those 3 months that they'll be using it. So just like we do with the baseball field, what we'll do is we'll have this come before the Board of Commissioners to approve, subject to them providing the certificate of insurance, which they already did provide to us. And then going forward, we'll ask them to do a 2-year request, just like they do with the baseball fields, and we'll have these 2 programs running simultaneously for every other year. So this will be before the board on March 7th for approval. They already know that they cannot use it until then, because their request was for March.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's the opening of spring season. Yeah, the one thing I said to Bruce, and I said it to Renee too, I'd be surprised if there is a conflict, because my guess is this is supplanting LMYA at that age group. If they're already in the schools, there would be no reason to have both.
Right.
This isn't like, it's not
That-
competitive. It's not like you have to be the best player to be on the team,
Yeah.
I guess. But I would want to just note with them that if there was a conflict, and the only time I could see there being a conflict would be on their Saturday schedule, because it's an all-day affair, that, conflicts defer to LMYA,
Okay.
before they can work it on their own. It's fine, but if we start getting complaints that, we don't have access, because I don't want the school district to think they have 9 to 5 on Saturday and no one else is going to be.
We could actually put that in the approval as well.
Yep. This way, we handle those before there's any
Yeah.
issue.
Okay.
Is there restrooms there?
There are.
Yeah. We don't need water.
Nope. No, there's two press. Okay, any other questions? Okay, item 11, Public Works project updates.
So the first item on the agenda is for line striping. This is part of the Lehigh Valley Co-op Purchasing Council that we're part of. There's like 18 to 20 municipalities that are a part of this line striping project. They're finalizing the numbers and will advertise in the next 2 weeks. It will come before the Board of Commissioners for approval once the bids are in.
Okay. Gun Club Road Bridge replacement.
This one I'm going to defer to Engineer McAdam.
Thanks, Renee. Thanks, Renee. This is a project we've worked on with Bruce for a little bit. It's basically removal and replacement of the existing culvert on Gun Club Road. It's being advertised the same dates as the Hillside School pedestrian trail. Yeah, with the difference being the bid opening will be on March 19th. So similar to the school project, we'd look to be able to discuss it at the March workshop meeting, and hopefully we get good prices. We would look to make a recommendation to award at the April 4th meeting.
Okay, questions in regards to the Gun Club Road Bridge project? My question is this, and that, you know, shame on me for not knowing this, but when replacing the bridge on Gun Club Road, are there other access points for Gun Club Road? Like, I know there was when we did Gaiman and those, but Gun Club, is it the only access point? Like, does it have to be done in stages?
I don't believe it's going to have to be done in stages. We actually got in touch with the school district in case things slide into the school year. But they said it would not be a problem. So my suspicion would be, no, it's not a problem with access from other places.
Okay,
So they would either have to come through the borough of Albertus to go up Gun Club, or they would have to come from Hensingersville Road
Right.
and come in
Okay.
Gun Club that way.
And this is one of many. We if the board recalls, we had done an assessment of all of the township bridges. And quite honestly, based on the results, it seems like many of them are at the end of their shelf life and need to be
Sure.
replaced. So this is one of a series that will keep coming to you for replacement over the next couple of years that Bruce has worked out with us in terms of budgeting and permitting and whatnot. So.
okay. Any other questions? Yes,
Are we
Mr.
gonna
Bitler.
put a timeline in on this bid? I know at one time we talked about it, that it wouldn't stretch out past a certain time and go into the.
Yeah, that is always the intention. Unfortunately, we got feedback. This is proposed to be a contact bridge, which basically, excuse me, basically is a contact is a company that does prefabricated bridges. They're actually fairly popular for arch bridges. They do the design. You give them the parameters. They do the design. You basically come and drop the sections onto footers. It's actually a pretty nice little process, but they talked with us about, oh yeah, that lead time is going to be, into the fall. And we were like, well, wait a minute, that's not, what it was when we started talking about this. So we're trying to hedge our bets and get it done as soon as possible. But we did have to reach out to the school district in the event that it doesn't take place, with completion before school starts. What do we do? We wanted to make sure that we weren't messing up the school district with obviously school bus routes.
All right, I know David had mentioned that we should have had a clause in on some of these contracts. They ran longer than we expected and jammed things up. I think Wild Cherry Lane was one of them, when it ran so long and after the fact. Discussed.
Yeah,
Even a penalty if it goes over.
Yeah, there are damages in all of our contracts. And barring really dramatic unforeseen circumstances, we typically find that the projects, we try to factor in a reasonable amount of time for the contractors to do ordering and delivery and all that, unless something's going to be, cast on site. And so we try to factor that in, but every contract we put out does have damages in case things extend beyond the contract dates.
Okay, any other questions? All right, municipal building elevator.
So this is something that was actually in the budget for last year to have it looked at and designed, and then this year to go out to bid. The elevator company and DHUE are working on the bid packet right now. They need to retrofit the tower to meet the updated codes. And as soon as that's ready to go, we're going to have that out to bid, and then we'll be before the Board of Commissioners for approval.
Okay.
Do you want me to go on to the next one?
Keep going.
So the next one is the community center roof. This is actually going to be a 2025 project. We're working with the roofing specialist right now to put together the specs, and we're hoping to go out to bid at the end of this year so that the project can be done next year. And as always, it will come to the Board of Commissioners for approval after the bids are in.
Okay.
The next thing is the compost center roadway. The contractors and property owners are currently working with utility companies for installation before the roadway is installed to our new compost center off of Quarry Road. Sauerkraut Lane Extension, Fork Road.
Fork Road, not coming off that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one question.
Yes.
The community center, is this the old building?
This
or
is the old portion, the original. Yes.
Okay, item 12, Parks and Recreation Project updates.
All right, let me just
Go-
keep going
just go right
Okay,
through them.
All right, Wild Cherry Park Tennis Courts. This is a Co-Stars project to refinish the courts and also to add ADA accessibility. We are looking, they could actually start anytime, but we're looking for the completion to be required by August 31st.
Okay.
Pickleball courts at the municipal complex. This is a little bit more entailed. So in 2023, we changed from 3 tennis courts to 8 pickleball courts. They're a little shorter. They're fine for pickup games. They're a little shorter than regulation size. There is a concern for the length of the field. So what we're doing is we are getting quotes in for 3 different things. First of all, to get a regulation length of the pickleball courts. Then we're also getting a second quote that would be for regulated length and the width. And then that would also have 10-foot aisles between the courts. Then the third quote would be for tournament size. So the tournament size ones would be 64 by 34 versus the 60 by 30 for the regulation widths and lengths. And that would have a 14-foot space between. If we would go with the third quote, which would most likely be the highest of them, what we could do is we could rent out the facility for tournaments to try to get our funds back. So this is something that I'm pretty sure that Bruce was, these are quotes from Co-Stars, correct? But because the price difference, I'm sure is something that Bruce would want to bring before the board for approval. But once we get all of that information together, we'll get that to you and have it before you at a board meeting. Quarry Park Playground. There's 2 structures there. Unfortunately, the 5 to 12-year-old structure for kids is beyond repair. So the smaller unit can be there. We're going to be replacing some of those items that are on the structure for the smaller kids with items that we took from Farmington. The swings that could also remain since there are no safety issues with those, but we're looking at pricing to complete it for a complete replacement at Quarry Park for next year. Most likely that information will come to you during our budget process. Quarry Park field lighting. We're looking to light 2 full-size soccer fields and 1 baseball field. And we are currently working with engineers and the lighting supplier for the layout on those. And is that Co-Star Sam or is that?
Yeah, Musco.
Musco is the manufacturer and would be the person to install them. And let's see, pool coping. I might need Stan actually for this. So we're looking to replace the cement pool coping around the entire large pool. The baby pool is okay. The water is getting behind the walls and causing damage. So it is very important that we replace the pool coping. And this again is a Co-Stars project, and the pool specialist was already here and we're awaiting a quote on that.
Didn't we do some work on the pool? Or-
That was for the tile.
Oh, okay.
Right?
we've been having issues with the tiles popping off. The decks were sinking and the moisture got behind the decks were settling. Moisture got in there and it was blowing out the inside of the walls, the cement around the striping and stuff is blowing out the walls there. So we got the decks, mud jacks, basically to a level surface. The walls are repaired. So now we have to replace the coping, basically to make it a impervious area so water can't penetrate behind the walls and cause more issues.
There's gonna, I mean, I guess the reality of it, there's gonna be a pool issue pretty much as long as you have, something's gonna go wrong, something's gonna break, something's gonna, they're a money pit. They're a hole for a reason. They hold water and money.
So to home.
How old is that pool? 30 years old.
The
Yeah,
baby,
more
well,
maybe.
it's much more
I
because,
I believe there's a date on the one, I think it was 1927, not this exact pool, it was like a cement pond that I think in the 30s or 40s actually built this pool. The first country club first came over here. So, but, but the thing is, it's such a good old built pool. So, I mean, the concrete is thick. We don't have any issues with cracking or, any structural issues with the actual pool itself. It's just the upper parts that we have issues with. But it's an old pool.
I mean, the club opened in 1929, so sometime I would say shortly after that.
Yeah, that pool's been there for a long time.
and that's the large pool.
That's the large
The
pool.
baby pool we had added, right?
Yes, baby pool's a lot.
Yeah.
Camp Olympic pool. That was a good pool.
That was a good pool.
It's a good parking lot now.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it is parking. You don't park where the pool.
Yeah, it's a parking lot on
Yeah.
top of the pool.
The pool house is there.
Yeah, pool house is still there, bathrooms there. Okay, manager updates. Traffic report intersection Shannick Road and Scenic View Drive.
So if you remember, quite a few months ago, we had some residents come here from Hills at Lock Ridge, and they were concerned of accidents that were happening at this intersection. So we actually we asked them to fill out traffic control signage request forms. We actually received 8. And we had the traffic engineer do an engineering review. And after they looked at the analysis of the intersection, it was found that an installation of a multi-way stop sign was not needed. However, we did place advisory signage on the below the signage on the scenic view roads to let them know that the cross traffic does not stop. And we have not heard any concerns after that, and we're hoping that that kind of helped with the problem of people thinking it's a 4-way stop.
Do we notify those that asked for the study?
We
exactly What we
did.
found?
Yes, we actually sent letters to all 8 of them.
And none of them have
No comments.
expressed
since-
any comments or concerns.
No.
Okay.
No, so I'm kind of thinking that having that signage there, they didn't realize that it wasn't a 4-way stop. Now they are notified of that, and we're not aware of any problems.
And everybody's favorite topic, solid waste contract.
So yes, solicitor and staff are still working on the bid specs, and as Bruce likes to mention at every meeting, we anticipate some form of rate increase. And we will keep residents informed. I actually was at Waste Markets filling up at the gas pump on Sunday, and a resident came around the side knowing that I work for the township and said that they read about this in the newsletter and they are not happy. I explained a little bit more to them. They completely understand, but it's good that we are getting the information out there. We are also looking to do a mailer, and we're going to keep that. We do have the website up and running, and we're going to try to keep that updated as the process goes on.
Yeah, I actually popped my head in on, Bruce had a meeting with, and Stan was there, with Waste Management the other day. I just popped in to say hello and to threaten them.
Here, I got a question.
Yes.
I got asked twice. I guess there's a rule when you must take township municipal garbage. And I got asked because of the rule, if you have more than 3 units, you cannot have municipal. waste through the township.
That is
So
correct.
are single homes mandated? You
That
have
is
to have it.
correct.
And
If
what's the
you are
cutoff?
on-
3 units?
It's 3 units, but if you are on a public street is when you are required. If you're on a private street, then the HOA is required to get the
Like the fair.
hauler.
Or
Correct.
a private hall.
Correct.
But, all right, it was a 3 unit. And they want to go to the opposite way that you would think I'm talking about this for. They're paying
Right.
dearly for a private hauler.
Yeah.
And they would love to be on our
Sure.
municipal rates. But they cannot.
Correct. Yeah, at that point, then it's considered commercial.
And, anyway, that's in East Texas. You
Okay.
probably know. what I'm
There's,
talking about.
there's multiple ones if I.
Right, up in the,
Yeah.
near a post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Any other department reports for me,
No.
other than
actually-
what's listed in the packet?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Any public comment on agenda topics? Julie? I don't think so. All right, then with that, we are adjourned.